Salarah Starre is a UK-based advanced law of attraction teacher trainer, coach, public speaker, and leading wellness expert. She will share life-changing wisdom about the law of attraction and how you can use this powerful universal law to build a foundation for bigger and bolder manifesting results. It is time to create the life you deserve, and with Salarah's help, you will.
Okay, and a very, very warm welcome to you once again to Manifesting Made Easy with myself, Salarah Starre, all the way from the very beautiful, historic Winchester, which you guys know by now. So I'm still manifesting doing one of these shows from the Maldives. But anyway, one manifestation that has come into fruition is I have a very, very special guest with me tonight. I started manifesting, as you know, if you've listened to my previous shows, in 2006, when my world was just taken by storm, if you like. The rug was pulled from underneath my feet and I was introduced to the wonderful world of manifesting. Of course, there's a lot more to manifesting than what I understood at that time when I read the book The Secret, but it's been a huge journey that's unfolded since then. And around about 2009, I had a very, very good friend of mine called Juliet Vorster, who introduced me to a singer, songwriter, spiritual rock star, might I add, called Karen Drucker. And I would listen to the music morning and night, and every single mood I was in or anything that I wanted to do or create, there was always a different song for it. And I used to swing my hips as I put the kettle on and sing at the top of my lungs. And I used to always feel so good, so high vibe, and so aligned after I'd listened to this music. And it'd been a dream of mine to connect with Karen as well. And we made connections over a period of time. I reached out. I've had some personal coaching with Karen, which I highly recommend, by the way. And also we've done some online retreats, etc., together. But nothing, and there's no music out there that will ever do what Karen's music does to my manifestation practice. So I reached out to Karen a little while ago. We hadn't been in touch for about a year or whatever it might be, because the pandemic took us off into different places. And I said, Karen, will you be on my podcast? And of course, I got the most warmest response back, as I always do, from Karen. Absolutely delighted to do so. So I am very, very pleased to announce that I have the very, very beautiful, very kind, warm, generous, open, giving, loving, massively talented Karen Drucker right here with me right now, dialing in all the way from
San Francisco.
That's right, of course. I was going to say that, of course.
San Francisco, California. That's where I am.
Yeah, I've been there once and I absolutely loved it. I've every plan of going again. So Karen, a very, very warm welcome to Manifesting Made Easy. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure. It's so nice to connect with you again. It's been too long. And yeah, it's in the pandemic, I think everything just exploded, it's just like all the people that I was in contact with, and the biggest disappointment I had of the pandemic was that we were not able to do our women's retreat that we had planned. I had booked my flight, my hotels, my everything. And I was all set to come and be with you and the beautiful women that you have in your circles. And then the pandemic happened right then. And that was the biggest disappointment of all the gigs that got canceled.
Yeah.
So I'm planting a seed that we're going to do this again somehow, that I'm going to get to England, because I'm an England fanatic. So it's been way too many years.
We're going to make sure that happens. I mean, we are manifestors, and we're going to make it very
We're manifestors.
So yeah, right. Karen is going to come over to the UK. So we're planting the seed. Keep an eye out for that. But Karen, you have played such an influential role in my work. And I have worked with hundreds, if not thousands of people in different ways. And I've introduced them to your work too. It is phenomenal. And I know you're very, very humble and you've got the most beautiful, kind soul. But I just want you to know that you make such a massive difference in people's lives. A very heartfelt, very kind, compassionate, and very uplifting work that you do. So when it comes to manifesting, I mean, I know that we're focusing specifically on manifesting in this particular episode, which is why I wanted to bring you on, because your music is so uplifting and it really does activate and ignite something really incredible in me and everybody, by the way, that I share the music with. So many people say to me, what was that song that you were just singing then? Because I just kind of go, just sing on my own. And I say, oh, that's Karen Drucker's song. And I'll put it in the chat box and people love it. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey and how, you've kind of manifested where you are right now.
Oh, completely. Everything that where I am today and the songs that I'm singing are completely around what you're talking about, because it was really having a vision of what I wanted to be. And, one of the things that I think is interesting that I want to share with your listeners is that, one of the things that's kind of wacky about me is that that a lot of people don't know about is that I am a long distance marathon swimmer, and I was on the first American women's relay team to swim the English Channel. So yay, 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 many, many years ago. But one of the reasons I love to tell this little story is that it was really an example of how when you have an idea of what you want in your life and you think about just going in a straight line, and then life knocks you off going in a different direction, and you go, oh my God, this is the straight line. I see what it is that I want, and why isn't it happening that way? And the reason I bring up the English Channel story is that when you swim the English Channel, you have to literally swim in a zigzag all the way across. Like if you just go straight, the tides will take you and you'll never make it. But if you go, a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, I mean, you're swimming right next to a pilot boat, and they're looking at the charts and they're looking at the tides. And the only way that you're going to get there is to go boom, but like all these like Z's all the way across the channel. And for me, my path has really been exactly that. And every time I would go off on a different line, I'd go, oh my God, this is not what I wanted and what's happening and I'm failing. But, when I look back, I look at every single one of those things to say, if it didn't go that way, I wouldn't have gotten to where I am now. So all those zigzags, all those times I thought I was going off track, it was like a bigger spiritual path that was happening that I could not control, and that I was still focused on where I wanted to be. And even with that, I a lot of times didn't know where I wanted to be. I just knew I wanted to be happier. I knew I wanted to be fulfilled, but I didn't know what that was going to look like. And so it just kind of kept taking me in this path. I became, a wedding singer. And then when that was really awful, I started playing in clubs. And then when that was really awful, someone asked me to sing in a New Thought church. And it was like, I don't sing in churches. What is that about? But I just showed up that day, and that's a lot of it, is just showing up. And I showed up that day, and, people were listening, and I was, trying to, the more I did this particular gig, I would match the music to the minister's message. And pretty soon I ran out of songs that I could find. And I thought, well, why don't I just start writing my own? Give me the title of your talk. And that's how I manifested 22 albums, and eventually got to a point where I started doing the talk at churches, and then started doing the talk at conferences, and then doing concerts, and and so everything has just been this zigzag path that has led me to where I am right now. But it was always coming from a place of I wanted more fulfillment. I wanted to express whatever light was in me, even though there were times when I could not see that light, had no idea that I had a light, but it was just about I want to express myself and feel fulfillment. And from that place, everything just kept moving me in the direction that I was supposed to go. And I'm even there right now. Again, I'm there right now because after COVID, it was like everything stopped. And now it's like, well, what do I want to do now? And I think we were just talking about this before we started, that the routine that I was in of flying all over the country, doing, I love my women's retreats. I love doing these talks, but I was so burnt out and I didn't even know it. And when everything started to get canceled, when COVID hit, a part of me freaked out. And I'll be really honest with you, another part of me said, oh, thank you, God. I just needed to stop. And I was so afraid that something like I was going to get sick, and that's what would have stopped me to really look at this stuff. But COVID happened, so I'm responsible for COVID. Sorry, everybody. I said that I needed to stop. But now I'm in this place of like, okay, again, what it's that deep discernment. What is my heart really saying that I want to do? And everything is just like on a moment by moment basis of, do I want to do that job? Do I want to fly again? Do I want to work as much as I was? So it's all that stuff.
And I mean, I've got so many goosebumps as you were talking, and I relate to all of it, especially the bit that, everything happens for us, right? Nothing happens to us. There's gifts to unlock within everything, even if something seems like it's like the worst thing that could ever happen and send us into fear. We actually realize that there's extraordinary gifts that can happen as a result of that. And mine was very similar to you. I didn't realize how wrung out I was. I was absolutely exhausted, trying to juggle so many different things, working every single hour God sent. And when COVID came, I was like, thank God. I felt like my silent prayers and desperate prayers, shall I say, had been answered, because I couldn't keep that up either. It was starting to take its toll. So it gave me the opportunity.
And yet we're women that are telling other women, all about self-care.
I know.
And here's my song. Here's my song. I will be gentle with myself.
Yes.
I will be
yes.
gentle with myself, and I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I'm just going, oh my God, you're a fraud.
Yeah.
You're like killing
But you
yourself.
don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know that you don't know, do you? And
Yeah.
I think everything is designed to help us unlock a new level of consciousness and a new level of awareness, to help us all go deeper on our own journey, individually, of course, and collectively. So even though that really was a big rug pull, it also actually was a great reset for so many of us. And there were so many gifts that came as a result of that. And I think that that's a really good topic of conversation, that sometimes things don't go the way we want them to, but they go the way we need them to, which is to
say that again. Say that again.
Sometimes things don't go the way we want them to, but they go the way we need them to.
Yeah.
And it really is about surrender, isn't it? And trusting that the divine plan, and that everything is unfolding for our highest good, even though it doesn't seem like it. Because many of us, and I know I can speak for myself and potentially speak for you too, based on what you've said, is we don't realize that we're misaligning, because we get so caught up in the busyness and the hecticness and the schedule that we're kind of going a little bit off track and not even realizing it. And it's only when something like that happens that we get the opportunity to stop, take stock, that we realize, actually, I don't think I could have carried on like that, but I didn't know that I didn't know, because I was so caught up within the cycle of everything.
Yeah, it feels like a little rat on a little mouse on a just on one of those wheels that you're just spinning, and you're going so fast. And it's true. I literally could not have, I couldn't have imagined myself calling up people who had hired me saying, oh, as I've looked into my heart and really stopped here, I really need to cancel this job. I couldn't have imagined 2 years ago doing that. I just wouldn't have. And I was booked for the entire year. And I would look at that year and I would feel exhausted. And yet I would know other singer-songwriter friends of mine who were saying, oh, I don't have enough work. So I'm then going into that guilt trip of like, well, who am I to complain? I've got people who are hiring me. I'm doing my dream. What's my problem?
Interesting. And that's really interesting that you say that, because I do believe that the self-love and the self-care is such an important foundational conversation for the law of attraction, not just that, for any area of our life. And if we don't have that in a strong and solid foundation, it's a bit like the foundations of a house. If they're not strong and solid, if a storm comes, the house is going to really start to struggle. The windows will blow in, the door will blow open, it might even go through subsidence. So what we have to
actually, let me just even say, what I've used that analogy a lot, because one of the things that I think is important is if the house was not built on solid ground in the first place, like if there was a hole in the middle, where you put the foundation. So that's why I think COVID kind of took away all of our houses. And now we get to look at, oh, I'm seeing that there's like, this foundation wasn't even really solid. And that's where it really comes down to being able to stop. And like you said, to stop and just assess what's going on. And now with things starting to pick up, I don't know how they are in England, if they're picking up more. We're doing that. I'm now starting to get some calls from people about jobs, and it's like I have kind of a knot in my stomach, because I'm so afraid of that part of me that is the people pleaser, or that working ethic part of me, that little driver part of me, just immediately saying, "Oh yes, okay, of course I'll do that job for you. Oh, you want me? Oh, okay, yes, no problem, I'll be there." And that part of me that doesn't want to disappoint someone by saying no. Like, I've got one person who's asking me to come all the way across the country to do a retreat, and as much as I would love to do it, I've been really, like, I'm putting off answering because I'm really trying to discern, do I want to do that? Do I want to fly, 7 hours
Do I
and
want to start that again?
yeah.
Isn't it?
So I'm just really, and I know that there's a part of me that will just say yes. It's almost like that part will bind and gag the self-care part of me and put her in the closet, go off and answer this email saying, "Yes, I'll do it," and then let that other part of me out going, "What did you do? I didn't want to do that." So I think I'm really learning about how do I control those two sides of me so that I'm in alignment. Like you said, it's being in alignment with what expresses your heart and your soul, but also that you are clear enough to have boundaries around, even
Yeah,
boundaries around yourself. It's not only
totally.
boundaries around, what you're going to do for other
Yeah.
people, it's boundaries around, I know that I will sit there and keep answering emails till 10 o'clock at night. So
Mm.
I need to put the boundary on me saying, no, 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 you have to stop. There's a cutoff point.
I really love that, because this is all stuff that has deep resonance for where I am at right now. I've gone into a deeper state of listening to myself. Everything that you're saying is really ringing true. And, it's getting to the point where I'm stopping every day and I'm checking in. I'm saying, "Hey, sweetheart, how are you feeling today?" And just making it really known that I'm here for myself, that I love myself. I'm here to listen and support. Because for so long, I was caught up in such a hectic cycle where, there was a part of me inside going, "Please, can I stop? I'm tired." This other part of me going, "No, darling, there's no time. Come on. We'll
Yeah.
stop soon, but we have to just keep going." And I wasn't listening, and I wasn't listening, and I wasn't listening. And of course, one thing happens, and the universe gives you a gentle whisper, and then eventually a nice, great big slapper on the face if you don't listen. But I was
Right.
sat at the breakfast bar one morning, and I just burst into tears. And my partner, Nick, he said to me, "Are you okay, sweetheart?" And I said, "I feel totally overwhelmed." And he said to me, "What do you need to do?" And this is really great because he's mirroring the conversations that I'm having with myself. And I said, "You know what? I need to cancel everything today. Everything." Now, the old me would have gone, "But I can't let them down. But what
Right.
about if, and what if this, and what if that?" But the new me was like, "You know what? If I carry on and I do this because I don't want to let them down, I'm basically saying I'm not important. My needs don't matter." That then has a knock-on effect with my confidence. And then I'm going to go into another kind of karmic cycle, if you like, of people pleasing to try and then make myself feel better about my own actions. And it's quite a negative loop. But that particular day I did. I cancelled everything. And there was this voice, "Well, what if these people get upset? Darling, that's don't need to worry about that. That's up to them. What's right, more important right now is you and how you are." Anyway, I spent the rest of the day on the sofa, and I felt so heard. I felt so seen, and I felt so listened to. And as a result, I'm feeling calmer and way more settled within myself. So now when it comes to manifesting, I'm not going to manifest through a flighty, dodgy foundation, energetic space. I'm going to be now manifesting from a calm, centered, safe, and secure energy, which that particular signature is now going to go through into my manifestations, and I'm more likely to get good results.
Right.
Whereas if I was to try and do it the other way. So when you were singing just a minute ago, "Newborn Baby Child," my whole heart chakra just opened, because that has so much resonance for me.
Well, I do need to make a comment about what you just said, because it's, one of the words that I live with. I think that we all have certain words that are our touchstone words. And for me, mine is authenticity. And when I am not true to my heart, if I show up and I'm doing something that I don't really want to be doing, how authentic is that? And so I have a song that I wrote years ago called "NO is My New Yes." Do you know that song?
I have heard it.
It's
Yes.
I should send that to you, because it's like my big anthem song. But one of the words in that song is, "How good is my giving, how authentic, how true, when I cheat me just to please you." And what that's about is exactly what you said. How much are you showing up to all the people from that day that you canceled? if you are not really wanting to be there, and of course, you're professional, I'm professional, you would show up, you would do a good job, you would, but it's like your heart, on some level, you're saying they're more important than you. And it's important to honor people, but to really be authentic and say, to call those people and say, this is what I need
Yeah.
today. And I honor you. And if we could reschedule, I would really love that, but I just wouldn't be fully present today. And that's, all the relationships I have set up with all my friends is pretty much like that. Like if we have a dinner date and, you're just not feeling it, or you're tired, or you're whatever, I don't want you to come and have dinner with me if you're not feeling good. Stay home, go lie on the couch, watch a Christmas movie, whatever you need.
Yes.
We'll reschedule. But if you have people in your life that are going to go, oh, no, you promised you were going to be there. I can't even be with people like that anymore.
No.
I have to have everything be present and in the moment. And that morning, for you to wake up and just say, I can't do this today, to me sends a bigger message to everybody that you were going to be with that day.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
you're honoring who you are.
And it felt right. And I love the way that you're talking about authenticity and integrity. It's all kind of like part of the same, kind of thing, if you like. It's like, but what we're also doing, sorry, my mind's going all over the place because I'm getting so excited about this conversation, but we're also giving other people permission to do the same.
Right.
And I think that's what's so important, is to say it's okay to choose you. And like you say, I am professional. Of course, I'll show up and do the best I can. But sometimes I know that there's a line. And actually, today,
that day you hit it. Yeah, you hit it that day.
That absolutely. And I couldn't have been of service the way I would like to have for the people that, I put my heart and soul into the work that I do, as do you. So I want to make sure that I'm completely present. But so many times I've put other people first. And of course, a lot of that was driven by my own fear, worrying about money, worrying about whether I was good enough. So my intentions were good, of course, but my drivers behind it were more from survival energy.
Right.
Than anything else. So with that song that you mentioned about no is the new yes, is that what it was again?
N-O is my new yes.
N-O
is my new yes. When I say no, I'm saying yes to me. N-O is my new yes. When I say no, I set myself free. So I'll send that to you.
Yes, please. If you don't mind, I would absolutely love that. Really love it.
But you know what I'd love to do, if you got a minute?
Definitely.
Since we're talking about listening, let me just play you just a little bit of this song. This is a brand new chant off my new album, and it just seems appropriate right now. So everyone just take a deep breath if you're listening to this podcast. So I'll just teach. I'm just going to sing a little bit of this, but it just goes like this. No push, no pull. I am empty and full. I breathe and receive and listen. Sing it again. No push, no pull. I am empty and full. I breathe and receive. I breathe and receive and listen. I'll say it one more time. No push, no pull. I am empty and full. I am empty and full. I breathe and receive. I breathe and receive and listen. So I'll just play you that much of it. But
that is so beautiful. There's just something incredible about your whole the energy that comes through your music. I mean, the music's great, but the energy that comes through with it, I get constant goosebumps, and I love that.
Oh,
I'm empty but full. These are so deep, and it's just so
yeah.
meaningful. So thank you so much for that. I'm really looking forward to listening to that. I mean, I have you on my playlist. You're in all my classes.
Oh, I
Even if
love
I
it. Well,
can't get
thank
your
you.
music, I just sing it. Obviously, I credit you with it every time, but
I
I
appreciate
just want to
that.
say thank you so much, Karen. It has just been an absolute pleasure. If you could leave the listeners with a message based on our theme, I guess tonight we've been kind of talking about self-care, authenticity, everything's happening for us, not to us. And what message would your heart like to share to those that are listening?
Well, it's funny. We were talking about this before. I have another song that says, everything that happens, happens for me. Everything that happens, happens for me. Everything that happens, happens for me. Everything is for my highest good. And that's really what it is. It's like if you can keep focusing in on that things are happening for your highest good. You might not know what that is now, but if you keep the idea in mind of I'm living my life and knowing and trusting that my highest good will be revealed. I love that concept. It will be revealed. It might not be there right now, but it will be revealed if you keep that idea in mind of going for your highest good, whatever expresses your heart, your creativity, your joy, all of that stuff. And I truly believe that when you keep that in your consciousness, spirit just keeps guiding you. You might be listening to this podcast today and you hadn't even planned on listening to it. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, this is what I needed to hear today. Or a book just falls off the shelf at you. Or you meet someone when you're going and getting coffee that all of a sudden puts a new idea in your mind or leads you in a different direction. Let yourself trust that everything is working towards your highest good, even when you don't know that it is. I say that to
I
myself
love
too.
that. I absolutely love that. And I tell you why that really speaks most profoundly to me right now, because I work with a lot of people who end up in my coaching practice because they've tried everything else. So I'm the last resort, which is,
No pressure
usually
there.
no pressure at all. But, a lot of the time it's always darkest before dawn. And as sad as I get to see people come to me in such an emotional, mental, or physical state, whatever it might be, there's also a part of me that's really excited because I know that whatever it is they're going through is happening for them and it's not happening to them. It's
Right.
part of their making. It's not part of their breaking. And when people learn this, it becomes very, very empowering and actually sets them free and makes the journey feel meaningful and exciting. So what you just said right then was just so profound, especially with the beautiful soul that I've been working with today. She feels like her whole world's been crushing down. And actually, I see that it's the beginning of something really extraordinary. So thank you for that, Karen. And thank you so much for coming on. Will you come on again at some point?
Oh, I would love to. And
Yeah.
I'd love to see if we could do some kind of a class or a workshop together. Cause I loved being with all of your tribe when we did that a
Yes.
few years ago.
Yeah, me too. We will
We'll
organize
plant that
that
seed.
because
Plant that seed.
yeah, as you were talking, I was kind of like thinking about just sending you an email with some potential dates for us to do another one of our 6-week online.
Love
And
it.
then obviously we're going to manifest the one in person. We can, potentially do that for a couple of years' time just to make sure things have piped down so we don't have to
Yes,
cancel again.
truly, truly.
But please
Yes, I'll
check
come on
out.
whenever you want. I love it's so
Oh,
stimulating for me to talk to you too. So it's
yeah,
wonderful.
thank you. I really appreciate it because the messages that you have are just so meaningful and just so heartfelt. And this is where I want, my intention rather for this, the energy of this manifesting. It's not about, just dancing on the surface and just manifesting the car, the boyfriend. It's a lot deeper than that.
No, it's
This
much
is about
deeper.
master manifestation, really returning to the vibration of love where everything is easy and effortless. And this comes through many practices, especially what we've been speaking about tonight, which is the deep listening. So when Karen and I run the online retreat, it will be, do you like the way I've just said it there? So we are doing it, by the way.
Claiming it.
Claiming it, naming and claiming that we will make sure that we dive deeper into that space, because it is so important. Without these foundations, every manifestation will be diseased. That's the way I see it. It becomes hard work.
Yeah.
So thank you once again, Karen. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
How can people reach you? So I know your website, karendrucker.com.
Yes. And what I encourage people to do is sign up on my email list. So if you go to my website, it's just on every page. It's like sign up for my email. And what happens is I send out a monthly newsletter, and I also send out a free song every month.
Oh,
So,
Yeah.
So do that. That would be great.
Okay, amazing, super. So to make contact, follow Karen. I highly recommend it, because I promise you, if you're waking up one morning and you're just feeling like you're just dragging your heels and you can't get any motivation to do anything, whack on one of those songs, and I tell you what, within a few minutes you're literally going to be buzzing. You're going to have bricks on your shoes to keep.
Oh, you're a good manager to me. I appreciate it. Oh, and one other thing I'll tell you about, I do a free sing along every month. I did this starting during COVID, so it's like 1 hour of just close your eyes and sing, and it's free. Everyone just comes online, but because you're quite a few hours away from me, these are all on my YouTube site, so people can just go to my YouTube site, just Karen Drucker, and you could see all the different. So you could just put me on for an hour, and we're just all singing together. So
I love that. That's literally completely up my street. I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Karen, thanks again. And
thank you, darling. Appreciate it.
You're so welcome. I appreciate it too. And thank you to all the listeners for taking the time to tune in. If you want to reach out, just send us a little email. Let us know, what else you would like us to do, any other kind of conversations you'd like myself and Karen to have, or, anything you might be struggling with that we can potentially help you with. But we'll be back at the same time on our next episode. In the meantime, sending you all loads and loads of love from myself and beautiful Karen.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
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 Thanks for listening. Salarah Starre will be back next week with great insights into the law of attraction. In the meantime, please visit salarahstarre.com.